Okay, sir.
Okay. So did Fahad join your class already?
Sir?
Hello, hello.
I'm sorry, sir. Your voice
Can
is not clearly. Maybe your internet having problem.
hello? Okay, okay. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello? Not clear? Not clear.
Yes, but too too little, sir.
Hello?
I can hear you, but your voice is little, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. I will change. Uh, wait, wait. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, okay. So, is Fahad with us? Is Fahad with us? Not yet. Did he join your class with you in another subject?
Yesterday I told him, sir, but he said he cannot join.
So actually, he never joined yet.
Yes.
Oh, what's wrong? Okay, okay, okay. So you all never seen his face yet too.
Yes.
Have you ever seen his face? Hello, hello, hello,
Leon, what's up,
Hello, hello.
sir?
hello. Yes, yes.
Yes,
Okay, okay, okay. Can you hear me?
yes, yes, sir.
Okay, looks like there's something wrong with the connection. Uh, but if you can hear me, then let's start the meeting. Okay, the first slide, please. Yes, the first slide. And can you make it bigger? Can you make it bigger? Uh, uh, can you make it bigger? Bigger? The first slide. The first slide. Yes. You can make it bigger by percentage. Viewing percentage. Can anybody else read that? Hello? Hello? Hello?
It's so tiny, mister.
Yes, yes. That's why I asked Hafiz to make it bigger. I think not by changing font, but by how is it to make it bigger all the page. The percentage in your the viewing percentage in your under your page, and looks like I can see it just how is it Okay, okay. Too small. Okay. Looks like you can share the slide and let your friend open it in their own gadget. Hello, Hafiz. You can share the slide and let your friend uh, open it in their own gadget.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So
I
you can
already
close
shared.
the
Oh yeah.
yes,
I close
you
this
can close
presenting.
the presentation.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sorry for the inconvenience. And have you got the slide from Hafid? Okay, have you got?
Yes, I have, sir.
And
Yes, I have, sir.
yes, you can open it in your own gadget or laptop. So let's now start. Let's now start from the first page. So today we will learn about the culture and the civilization and the science and the connection between science and culture and civilization. The words culture and civilization are two words that have constant meaning, become the top of experts, and because the more humans develop and advance ways and thinking about it, it will also have an impact on the meaning of the two words, culture and civilization. Okay. As said by many experts from within Indonesia or the West, who define and they have more than one definition. So there are a lot of definition about these two words. Thus, understanding the words culture and civilization cannot be given adequate definition, or the definition can be agreed upon by all parties. So uh, many scientists have many and different definition about culture and civilization. But it is sufficient to show which aspect will be emphasized in each definition of culture and civilization. Okay, so let's see the next slide. Definition of culture. Culture has been defined by experts according to Western experts. E.P. Taylor in the book Primitive Culture said that culture is a complex whole which contains other knowledge and habits acquired by humans as members of society. So the keywords is knowledge, habits, and society. Society. So usually the culture is the human behavior in society, not a single person. So if you say he has a different culture, no, the culture belongs to community, not a single person or just two person like that. I hope that today we will have friends from Thailand, but why I don't know. Next, Linton in the book The Cultural Background of Personality. The culture is a configuration of behavior, and the results of behavior, the element of formation, are supported and based on by certain members of society. So the keywords is still society and behavior. Behavior. So the culture is showing by the people in that community to behave. Let's say the culture of batik. The culture of batik. It is showing. It is showing by Javanese people using batik clothing. For example, Klughorn and W.H. Kelly state that culture is the result of questions and answers from anthropologists, history, law, psychology, which implicitly and explicitly, rational and irrational, exist at all times as a potential guide for human behavior. Okay, so we got one very interesting keywords, which is rational and irrational. Sometimes in our culture there is also a mythology and the legend. Just like in my area, in the west. No. I mean South Ocean. In the South Ocean of Java, the people of Java believe that there is a supernatural force called Nyi Roro Kidul. The one that ruling the ocean, and he is and she is not a human, and that is one part of culture of Java, right? The belief of Nyi Roro Kidul. Okay, let's see what else. Melville J. Herkovitz defines culture as a man-made part of environment, part of the human-made environment. So actually, the culture is man-made. What does it mean? So the culture is according to the human in that area. So that's why the culture is different in each area. And Indonesia is very rich in culture, and we have a lot of language and a lot of tribes in Indonesia. We are very rich in culture. Dawson, in the book Age of the Gods, said that culture is a way of living together. The way of living together. Okay, next, according to Trivipta, Trivipta said that culture is a collection of the spark of the human soul. The spark of human soul this is very interesting. The spark of the human soul has a variety of effects in particular society. So actually this slide is originally based from the dictates I gave you last week in Bahasa. Then last night I translated to English using Google Translator, but I have to make some adjustment because sometimes Google Translator is doing error too. Okay. Next, according to Ralph Linton, Ralph Linton, an American anthropologist said that culture is man's social heredity. So the heredity, what is heredity? Heredity is something that you pass, something that you live, something that you live to your next generation. It is called a heredity. So according to Linton, culture is social heredity. Social heredity. So in culture, we hear it from our ancestor. We hear it from our parents. We hear it from grandpa and grandma, and the culture is passing through next generation to the next generation and to the next generation. Social heredity, according to Linton. Jacobs and Stern state that culture includes all forms of social technology, ideology, religion, and art, as well as objects which are all social heritage. Very interesting. So including ideology, and later we will discuss it about ideology. And ideology is different. It is different from religion. Different. Usually ideology is political beliefs. And religion, according to Jacob and Stern, is one form of culture, just like we see in Japan. In Japan, they have Shinto, if I'm not mistaken, the religion of Shinto. Or let's see, in Thailand, our friend, they have the religion of Buddhism. And usually it is passing through from generation to generation. According to Kapper argues that culture is a system of ideas that becomes a guide and influence for humans in their attitude and behavior, both individually and in groups. So the culture can change somebody's attitude. The culture can change somebody's attitude. Let's say, perhaps you have friends from last time I have a student from United States, and there is no such culture in our country. Just like usually, if we are Muslim in Java, and we passing through older people, we you know we are heading down, and say, excuse me, just like that. And that is one of Indonesian culture, which is very famous about its politeness. And some foreigner has already changed their attitude, because they are living long enough in Indonesia. So they can change their behavior and following the culture of Indonesia. That is culture. Perhaps if you go to another country, you will follow that country culture too. Sometimes people who lives long enough in a foreign country and they return back to Indonesia, they are culture shock. Or for example, you are familiar in Indonesia in Indonesia that almost every woman is using head cover, using jilbab, using and cover their body. And you go abroad, or perhaps not so far away. Let's say you go to Kuta, Bali, and you can see there is so many people and wearing only underwear. Okay, that's culture shock. Can you follow me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see next. William Haviland said that culture is a set of rules and norms that are shared by members of society, which, if implemented by the members, will produce behavior that is deemed appropriate and acceptable. Acceptable. So you may be acceptable to be using only underwear in the beach in a foreign country, perhaps let's say in Australia or in America, but it is not appropriate to do that in Indonesian culture, right? It is not appropriate. So the culture gives also the how we behave and what is appropriate and acceptable in Indonesia. That is the culture of Indonesia. Francis Merrill said, culture is the patterns of behavior generated by social interaction. So the culture generated by social interaction. All behavior and product produced by a person as a member of society are formed through symbolic interactions. So there are symbols of culture. Let's say The symbol of culture of Java, we have the symbol of Honocoroko, or the symbol of Japanese language. They have katakana and hiragana. If you have ever learned about it, and the symbol of Islam as a religion, usually the moon and the star, symbol of the moon and the star, and the symbol for Christianity, usually the cross, the Jesus cross, right? That is symbol. According to Bonded et al., culture is something that is formed by the development and transmission of human beliefs through certain symbols. Okay, the same keywords, symbols. Symbols, for example, language. Okay, language. And the message about culture are expected to be found in government, media, religious institutions, education system, and the like. So the culture is also coloring the educational system. According to Mitchell in Dictionary of Sociology. So sociology is learning about how community behave, how community doing activities. Sociology is learning human social movement. Sociology. Okay, Mitchell, Dictionary of Sociology. Culture is a partial repetition of human actions or activities and human produced product that have socialized society and not just transfer genetically. So the culture is not transfer genetically. It is a social product. Social product. So you cannot passing the culture just only by genetic. Usually, Japanese people is brown in skin color, but it is not in common. Not in common. There are some Japanese people which is white in skin. There are also Japanese people which have eyes like Chinese. Have eyes like Chinese. There are also Japanese people who is as black as African. There are also. Robert Lowy. Culture is everything that individuals get from society, including beliefs. Just for example, last time, okay, beliefs, custom, artistic norms, eating habits. Let's say usually in Java, you cannot. It is not polite if you eat while your food is is upside the chair. Your foot is upside the chair. Do you know what I mean? It is not polite in Java. But actually, if you have ever read in the Prophet teaching in Islam, it is one part of Sunnah. So to put your legs, put one leg up on the chair. Why? Because to press your stomach, so you don't eat too much. Perhaps you can read it by yourself. It's sunnah in eating, but it's not appropriate in Javanese culture. It is called not polite if you eat and your leg is on the chair. Okay, let's see next. Eating habits, skills that are acquired not from their own creativity, but a legacy of the past obtained through formal and informal education. So usually we get this culture not in formal education. Usually we get it from our parents, from informal education. Let's say don't sit on the pillow, just like that. For example, don't sit on the pillow. It can harms your butt, for example, in Javanese. If you know what I mean, okay. Meanwhile, the next slide, slide 4. The definition of culture according to Indonesian experts. So perhaps you don't know yet how is it to have mid test in university, because you are a new student, right? But you know, you must understand each lecturer style of teaching. So some lecture will give you, let's say, the question of multiple choice, and some lecture likes to give you essay. Some lecture, some subject even give you assignment for mid test. So and some subject you can do the test with open book. Another subject you cannot open your book or close book. So it's according to the lecturer. But usually the question or the test in university must be high order thinking skill. High order thinking skill means, for example, what is culture? What is culture? It is not a good question. The good question is what can you analyze? What is culture and its part in your daily life, for example. So Usually in a university, you are not asked to remember, but you must can think creatively and independently. But still, according to the theory. Okay. Okay. So let us continue. Let us continue. So I will not ask you to remember all of this definition. No, I will not ask you to remember all of this definition. The question in the mid test, not, for example, not what is culture according to Muhammad Hatta. No, that is not a university question. The it is a question of remembering. It is a question for uh, senior high school student. So the university testing usually asks you to analyze and comparing and give your own opinion. And for doing so, if you want to do that, you must understand it all. So you must read a lot of books and knowledge. Okay, let's continue. The definition of culture according to Indonesian experts. Professor Kunchoro-Ningrat. Professor Kunchoro-Ningrat is one of the greatest anthropologists in Indonesia. Usually, if you learn anthropology, you must use the book of anthropology from Professor Kunchoro-Ningrat. According to Professor Kunchoro-Ningrat, states that the culture is the whole human being from behavior and the result of his regular behavior. By the behaviors he has to get by studying, and which are all arranged in people's lives. According to Sultan Takdir Ali Sabana, culture is manifestation of a way of thinking. Manifestation of way of thinking. According to Muhammad Hatta, culture is the life creation of a nation. According to Muhammad Hatta, so according to him, the culture belongs to the nation. Mangun Sarkoro, culture is everything that is the result of the work of human soul in the broadest sense. C.D. Ghazalba, culture is a way of thinking and feeling, self-expressed in all aspects of life, from human groups that form social unity with space and time. Okay, with space and time. So just like what we have learned before, that the culture is showing in symbols and also usually we can see it also from the form of building. Let's say if you have heritage, you have ancient building from Netherlands, VOC building. It is different in shape with the new modern house, and also we can see the culture in temples, Chinese temples also, and usually a Japanese people house has different shape too. Alhamdulillah. Ki Hajar Dewantoro. Culture means the fruit of human mind. The product of human mind, which is the result of human struggle against two strong influences, namely age and nature. Age and nature, which is evidence on the truth of human life to overcome various obstacles and difficulties in life and livelihood in order to achieve safety and happiness, which in its birth is orderly and peaceful. So, according to Ki Hajar Dewantara, the culture is gained. The culture is gained by peace, not by war. It is culture. So you cannot force your culture to another person. You must believe my culture. You must believe my culture. No, you cannot. Yes, because it comes in peace, the culture. Archaeologist Sukmano, culture is the whole result of human efforts, either in the form of objects or only in the form of thoughts and living nature. If you have ever gone to Joger in Bali, or you go to the handicraft shop of some areas, you can see that the culture is showing from the object, But the culture is not only in the form of object, but also in the form of thoughts, in the form of ideas, and living nature. According to Professor Joyo Diguno, in Principles of Sociology, culture is the power of the mind in the form of creativity, taste, and intention. Cipta is knowledge which comes from inner and outer experience. Karsa is religious norms or beliefs which originates from Sangkan and Paran, the birth and death. Taste, what is it? Wait. Actually, this is not taste in bahasa. Rasa. But I think it is not correct if I read if it is translated to taste. It's different, right? Rasa is the norm of beauty that produce art, which originates from beauty and reject ugliness or badness and ugliness. Okay. So cipta, karsa, and rasa. Cipta, karsa, and rasa. The knowledge, the religious, and the art of beauty in culture, according to Professor Joyo Diguno. According to Chudoba and Schal, culture as followed by Muji Sutrisno is a creative activity and living from new values. Professor Hasim, culture is the incarnation or manifestation of human reason, human reason and taste, which matter also means that it's humans who create culture, or in the other words, that culture originates from humans. That is the keywords. The culture originates from human. So you cannot get. I get this culture from buffalo. No. Or say I get this culture from monkeys from my area. Oh no, because the culture originates from humans. Mochi Sutresno explained that currently the word culture is defined as the embodiment of the life of every person and every group of people who strive to cultivate and change nature so that distinguish humans from animals. So the culture distinguish human from animal because animal don't have culture. Animal don't have culture, including knowledge, tools, clothing. The animals don't need clothing, right? And includes also how to live up to that, how to carry out marriage, and so on. And animal don't get married, right? So that is the difference between human and animal, the culture. Next slide. Understanding civilization. What is civilization? According to the expert, Yusuf Qaradawi, civilization is a collection of forms of progress, whether in the form of material, scientific, artistic, literary, or social, that exists. So there are the form of civilization in literary, writing object. Let's say books or newspaper or magazine, etc. So we are now entering the second word, which is civilization. Culture and civilization. Okay, according to Naqib Al-Attas, quote by Emir, it was revealed that civilization is a state of human life in a society that has reached a certain level of refinement of noble moral and culture order for all of its people. Okay. So it has reached one high level civilization. In the Sunnah, in the story of hadith, a lot of hadith, there is also we can call it Arab Badui or villagers in Islam. If you read a lot many stories of Prophet Muhammad, there is villagers called Arab Badui, and Rasulullah and the Sahabat they live in the city of Madinah, the city of Mecca, right? And the people who lives in the city usually have more civilization, more civilized than people from village. Usually. So let's say in one hadith, there is a story that one Arabic Badui, he goes to the mosque, goes to the masjid, and he he want to pee. He want to pee in the masjid. He want to pee in the masjid. Why? Because he is villagers. You don't know the civilization. So sahabat Umar, if I'm not mistaken, want to kill him because he pee in the masjid. But Rasulullah say, no, just let it go because he don't understand. So that is the example of civilization. Perhaps some of you comes from village just like me. And if you want to increase your level of civilization, you need to go to the city. Because in the city, you can get more civilized. And that is the reason. The example. For example, okay. Usually, people of the village is less civilized than the city. Usually, but not always. The word civilization in Indonesian has the same connotation of adab, sopan santun, and refinement in Islam. And there is also another opinion that civilization is material progress. Material progress. Science and technology, right? So the science and technology and the building is more complex, right, in the city. And refinement aspect, social arrangement, and other aspect of progress. And so the civilization usually formed by the people who work together, who live together, and they create a common culture, and they build a big building and a very high order science and refinement aspect. For example, in the high society, you will learn the table manner. But usually we study table manner from the West, which is sometimes not in correlation with Islam. Let's say if you have ever learned about table manner and you want to eat steak, you must use pork and knife, right, to eat steak, and you eat by your left hand, and it is not correlation with Islam. And also, let's see the culture of using soap. You know soap? You are using soap to take a bath. Soap, the one that gives you fragrance and freshness. The soap. The soap is, if I'm not mistaken, is originated from the culture of Islam. So in the primitive time, people just take a bath, or perhaps not take a bath. And Islam gives a lot of very good culture and makes people becomes more civilized by teaching that person must take a bath. Let's say in Islam, we must take a bath a minimum 1 week, 1 times. Minimum, right? Minimum one week, 1 times for praying Jumat for male. And Islam also teach that before we pray, we must doing wudu or take ablution. That is one example that Islam bring people to become more civilized. And also Islam teach us to dress correctly. Also Islam, if you read in the history, in the last time, in the ancient time, the one who used veil, the one who used hijab, is only rich people, and only noble people. Only in bahasa we call it bangsawan, and that is in the past time. But then Islam comes, and Islam teach us to every woman to use a hijab, just like bangsawan. So Islam makes people more civilized, or let's say in bahasa lebih berperadaban. Okay, you may ask if you have question. Okay, next we continue. The definition of sopan santun that in line with Islam is manners, a good manners, consisting of two words, sopan and santun. Sopan means respect and honor according to local culture. According to, let's say, in Javanese, we showing our respect in the front of the elder by heading down and say, excuse me, or say, in Javanese we say nyuwun sewu, right? And it's one example of it. While santun is kind and gentle in speaking and behave, like to help others, and compassionate. Compassionate means you feel very sorry if you see another person in trouble. It is compassionate. Okay, let's see the next. Abdul Karim said that civilization is parts of culture that have a broad system of technology, building arts, fine arts, state system, and knowledge. And it is emphasized again that the general definition is that civilization is part of culture which aims to facilitate and prosper life. So usually, let's say, for example, a very simple example. People who are more civilized in the city, we are, in the city we are accustomed. We are accustomed to do queue. You know queue? To do queue. Antri in bahasa. To do queue. Antri in bahasa. And when someday, let's say you are driving your cars in a line. You are driving your cars in a line, and you are queuing. Let's say to enter a drive-through. Let's say. Then somebody with driving very fast and take your position, and in a very rude way. And you know what you say? You will say, this man is very villager, right? This man is very villager. Or you can say in bahasa, orang ini deso sekali, right? Why? Because in a more civilized place, in the city, the people is used to get queue. In bahasa we say suka mengantri is one simple example of high society of civilization in the modern life. So if you don't like to queue, another people will say to you that, oh, this man is a very villager. This man comes from a primitive area, like that. Okay, that one of the simple example. Dehan in Abdul Karim said that civilization is the opposite of culture, according to Dehan. Civilization is the entire social, political, economy, and technological life. Sedilot said that civilization is a treasure trove of knowledge and technical skill that increase from generation to generation and continuously. Beals and Hoyer say that civilization is the same as culture in terms of quality, but different in quantity, content, and pattern. According to Beals and Hoyer. Badriatim revealed that civilization is something that is used for subtle and beautiful parts and element of culture. And Chudoba explained that civilization is the ideas, works, tools, customs, and institutions in the past that cannot be changed. Okay, let's see. The next slide. Seven most advanced ancient civilization in the world. Ancient civilization, not modern. Number one, ancient China, 2100 until 221 before Christ. Along with the four great inventions of ancient China, including printing, and also paper, making the compass and gunpowder, or something explosive. Last time before the Chinese finding paper, people using bones, just like if you read the history of Rasulullah, they write Al-Quran in bones, and dates leaves, daun, pelepah kurma. And the Chinese also credit with the inventions of kites. Kites. In bahasa we call it layangan, and also toilet paper, or tissue. The first recorded observation of a solar eclipse, gerhana matahari. There is solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. And comets were also made in China. So they must have made such a telescope to see the object in far away. The Chinese brought timekeeping into our lives through shadow clocks. Shadow clocks. You know shadow clocks? Uh, Forerunner of the sundial, which first appeared in China around 2,500 years ago. Shadow clocks. Shadow clocks is you can use you know what is it? Some table and a ruler, and you see the shadow from the sun, and you know what time is it from shadow clocks. Usually in the past time, Rasulullah has also teach about this, the how to determine the time of Salat by watching the shadow of the sun, right? Let's say and see the nature. For example, the time for subuh. The time for subuh is if you are doing fasting or saum Ramadan. The time of subuh is when you can see the white needle, the white cotton from the black one, right? Or it is already start to bright, and the time to pray, duha. The time to pray duha is when the small camel, you know, a small camel is getting hot from the sun. It is the time for Salat Duha. The time for Salat Duhur, is after the sun is not directly, in our head. So the sun must be get to the west, and we can see the shadow, not at the time of when the sun directly in our head. That is for example for solar time, using the nature, and sundial time. Okay, let's continue. The crossbow is also developed by Qin dynasty, which later become the main weapon of European warfare. Do you know crossbow? Crossbow is if you know archer, you know archery, panah. The crossbow is just archer-like, but it's not archer. The crossbow is an archer which is a small archer placed in the top of in the form like a gun. So you don't pull it like this, like archer, but you just pull the trigger, like that, and the archer like the small gun is can attack enemy. Perhaps you can see it by your own in googling. Crossbow is a very deadly weapon. Crossbow. Next, let's see. Oh, the time is nearly over. We still have 15 minutes. Okay. Ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptians are renowned for being advanced in areas such as mathematics and architecture. But did you know that they were forward thinking in the field of medicine? in the field of medicine. Parasitic disease like malaria were prevalent with the harsh living and working conditions near to the river Nile, with the added danger of crocodiles and hippopotamus. There is evidence that the ancient Egyptians had knowledge of anatomy, injuries, and practical treatment. So they have in advance in medic. Ancient Egypt was also ahead of gender equality. And they are famous for their people said that the most beautiful queen in the ancient time, and her name is Cleopatra. Next, let's see the Inca civilization. And modern day, it is the country of Peru. If you see the slide, there are a very good picture of it. From their capital of Cusco, Peru, the Incas conquered an empire reaching from southern Colombia to central Chile. And they built the most sophisticated and extensive transportation system. So they make the, it is just like stairs, a very high stairs, right? Stairs to heaven. Wow, good. Oh. But the writer said that this area in rumors may be closed to the public in the future, and we don't know why. The next we have ancient Greece. We have ancient Greece. Wait a minute. The ancient Greece. Although well known for their sophistication in architecture, mathematics, and astrology, the ancient Greeks also has a very big impact in literary. Just like playwright Aeschylus invented drama. Sophocles credited with developing irony, and Euripides used plays to challenge social norms. Okay, you can read it clearly in your slide. Maya civilization, modern day Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras. So in the ancient time, the Maya civilization is very wide, right? It's very wide. Reference in blockbuster disaster movie 2012, the Maya are well known for being brilliant as astrologists and outstanding mathematicians, credited with the invention of zero and measuring the length of a solar year with great accuracy. The Maya civilization. They can raise fields, harvesting, forest garden, and terracing. Okay, and the next, Osirian civilization. Osirian civilization. The Osirian platform found at Lebanon. made of individual stones, some of which are nearly 100 feet long and estimated to weigh up until 1,500 tons each. And there are multiple theories about how to move these stones, from using wooden roller until flipping them by levers. Okay. So just like people also questioning how, quote, an ancient Egypt make a pyramid. Some civilization has left for us a mystery, right? Just like how Borobudur is built, or just like how what else? Javanese temple. You know, a lot of Javanese temple is very great in shape, and is very interesting, in a very, you know, even modern people cannot imagine how to build that thing. Or you say, or you, if you know the legend of Candi Prambanan Temple, one people make 1,000 temple in one night. The myth, the legend of Prambanan. Rama Empire, modern day India and Pakistan. Over the last 100, the cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro have been discovered in modern day Pakistan, in Indus Valley. But what made this ancient civilization so advanced? Archaeologists believe that the cities were conceived in their entirely before being built. Incredibly advanced in city planning. Okay, it is now start to go to the end of the slide. The relationship between culture, science, and civilization. There are experts who distinguish between culture and civilization, such as Malinowski. And there is also O. Spengler. O. Spengler contradicts the two words, seeing culture as the embodiment of human mind, but civilization on the opposite as slavery and the freezing of one's mind, according to Spengler. So the expert is not agree about the definition of culture and civilization, and some experts say that the culture and civilization is on the opposite. Okay, Efat al-Sharqawi in the book of Philosophy of Culture of Islam said that there are still many people who synchronize the meaning of the two words, culture and civilization, with the words of Arabic as-Saqafah, culture in English, and civilization with al-Hadara in Islamic, in Arabic, civilization in English. These two words in the development of anthropology today have different meaning. In anthropology. Culture is the form of expression of the profound spirit of a society, and widely reflect in the form of art, literature, religion, and moral, while civilization manifestation on progress and technology. Usually the great civilization showing a great achievement in technology. Okay, The last slide. The second last slide. So culture is something that has developed in society, whether it's about manners, courtesy, customs that have been carried out from generation to generation. So that is always done regularly from ancient times to present millennial. So that it has become the culture of certain society. For example, the culture of visiting relatives in the village during Idul Fitri or Idul Adha. That is an example of the culture. Civilization is also related to social change. Uh, so sometimes people get more civilized, and the culture of people is missing sometimes. Let's say you live in the city and you forget your ancestor culture. That's why some experts say that culture and civilization is on the opposite. For example, changes in gender function. For example, now a woman do not have problem working outside the home. While actually in the culture, who walks outside the home is male, man, not woman. Okay. So the slide is over, and I think we need to discuss more. If you must read this below about civilization. This below, this link below, you can find it in your slide, and I hope you read it. And you give summary. You give summary, and you write it on the WhatsApp group, right? WhatsApp group, and then we will discuss it later. Okay. The time is up. Any question for now? You can ask now or later in the group. Any question? So the conclusion. Yes. Please.
Ngerangkum apa Pak tadi Pak?
What?
Merangkum ini. Slide ini.
Okay, thank you. So the conclusion is the science, culture, and civilization. The conclusion is if you want to be more civilized, to increase your level to high civilization, you must learn science. And the science itself is one of the civilized person must have. For example, if you want to propose your girl, and you go to your girl parents, and your girl parents, her father must always ask you, where did you learn? Kamu sekolah di mana? That is a very big question, right? Why? Because modern people, civilized people, is having big attention to education. So the science can make you more civilized person. Okay. So that is the conclusion. The culture is important to keep you stay remember of your origin. So you must understand that I'm Javanese, so I must know the culture of Java. And the civilization is also important. Why? Because you must increase up your level to higher civilization. How is it? How is it? The simplest way is learning science, or you go from the village to the city, or if you have another opportunity, you can learn from the highest, more higher civilization. Let's say you go to Mecca to learn religion, or you go to America to learn technology, or you go to another place that has more science from us and more civilized. Okay, anything else to ask? If you have no question, let's close our meeting by doa akhir majelis. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Okay, thank you for your attention. I'm sorry if there is something that unclear. And if you have any question, you may ask in group and or comment if this recording meeting already uploaded. Thank you again. See you next time, inshallah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.